Hey everyone, it's Greaseball here. I've been playing a ton and thinking about strip mine way too much, and I wanted to share my thoughts on adjusting to strip mine. Now, I'm not sure if strip mine decks are the best decks in Timeless, but they're good enough and they're prevalent enough on ladder that I think it's worth talking more about play patterns and how I think you can create a better matchup in the deck builder. So, looking into strip mine on ladder, there are now quote unquote strip mine games, and I'll get into this into a little bit more in a little bit. So strip mine decks now have a way to high roll against any deck. Number two is strip mine is going to come up a lot. With 4 strip mine in your main deck, there's a 39.9% chance per mulligan to open a hand with strip mine. And so it's just going to happen a lot. It's not like a conditional A plus B thing. It's just you opened a hand with strip mine. There's a good chance that there's going to be a strip mine game. Now decks like Energy that are kind of like mid-rangey, that usually kept one land hands or like could have the option to do that, are now strongly disincentivized to keep one land hands with Guide plus Pride, as you don't know in the dark if your opponent is going to be on a strip mine list or not. So what is a strip mine game? I just kind of want to use like a simple like working definition of it, so I don't have to so we can just say this is a strip mine game now. So criteria is strip mine has destroyed at least one land, and then one player has missed a land drop or is missing a color, and this is usually the person that got strip mined, but it doesn't have to be. Now, implications of this is strip mine has disrupted the mana of at least one player in the game. That affected player will now be top decking for on-color spells or lands. Notably, if one player is unaffected, they have a significant edge. And now this is usually the player who activated strip mine. So the player starting the game with a strip mine in hand will inherently have this advantage in knowing that the game is more likely to become a strip mine game. Both players are down a card because they traded the land for strip mine. So this will be a lower resource game, just slightly, right? And notably, the strip mine decks both have the two main strip mine decks both have ways to kind of take advantage of these lower resource games. Sultai has the blue 1-drops. They also have Treasure Cruise and Frog later on, but they're all very effective in the accumulating an advantage once there's a lower resource game. Whereas Golgari also runs a bunch of the fast mana. So sometimes like Dark Ritual is in a low resource, like low mana game, like Dark Ritual is effectively +2 lands to resolve something. Ancient Tomb is effectively 2 lands. Chromox is just effectively like another land redraw. They also have Reanimate, which is a really efficient spell, and they also have the One Ring, where if they ever stick it, they can basically accumulate their and push their advantage. Now, and all of these cards are good into lower resource games. Notably, both decks also run Deathrite Shaman, which helps protect them from being on the wrong side of a strip mine game, because they can't lose their colors, and it's efficiently ramping, and so more spells in their hand are going to be castable, right? And just as an aside, I think fast mana decks are less likely to be in a strip mine game, where it's like Affinity off of Opal or Dark Ritual into any Necro or One Ring. You're going to accumulate cards or have enough mana to effectively again insulate yourself from joining a strip mine game or being a part of a strip mine game, right? And with this kind of in mind, I think there is this kind of hierarchy when I think about strip mine games. And kind of the hierarchy is the higher you are in the hierarchy, the more you want to be in a strip mine game, and the lower, the less you want to be a strip mine game. So I think decks that play Weary Zone Guard and are Wrenn and 6 are at the very top of the hierarchy, and because they're dedicating so many cards to having strip mine, to a strip mine lock and having strip mine in play. Even if you're in a lower resource game and they're not castable yet, their high roll is going to be turned on for the rest of the game, as long as effectively the rest of the game, if they have the strip mine in their graveyard, right? So just the fact that if they ever do get out of this low resource game and stick one of these threats, they're piling on their advantage really hard, and they're never getting mana screwed should they stick. And So those decks are number one. Number two, decks that are one color, just because they'll be less likely to get mana screwed in the first place. And so the only way you can get the only way the one color deck can get affected is if they start missing land drops, right? Versus missing a color, right? And so intuitively, the decks with more colors are going to have want to be in a strip mine game less, right? And notably at the bottom, decks that don't play strip mine. I said Dark Ritual decks don't want to be in a strip mine game, but if they are in a strip mine game, something bad has happened and they're not in a good spot, right? So, I mean, they're just way more likely to be on the affected player side. And so I think when you kind of need to understand where the meta share of decks is right now. Right now, I would say like there's a good like 30-40% of decks that are just playing Wary Zone Guard, Strip Mine, maybe more. And so if Strip Mine is in your main deck and you're a 3-color deck like Mardu Energy, you're kind of running into or like deliberately like putting yourself into a Strip Mine game if you like start trading Strip Mines with these decks that are higher in the hierarchy, right? So I think you have to be really careful and like really understanding of the metagame shares to understand if your deck has enough like targets that it can be playing Strip Mine in the main deck against. Like, you know, for example, if we're in like a big combo meta where it's just like dark, like, you know, it's just like Necrostorm and it's just you know, like Belcher and like Show and Tell. You know, maybe a deck like Energy gets away a lot. A deck with Energy gets a lot more leeway on running Strip Mine because they don't have any like Wary Zone Guard decks to worry about and stuff like that, and they're kind of at the top of the hierarchy in that metagame, right? So you really need to understand where the meta share of decks is and if you want to enter these Strip Mine games or not, based on where your deck kind of falls on this hierarchy. Now, we talked about Strip Mine games. Now I think it's kind of important to talk about how you can defend your mana base against Strip Mine. So cards like Lorien Revealed and Troll insulate your mana base. Coincidentally, they also let Strip Mine decks keep like double Strip Mine openers without any colored mana, and so they're good for both. But it kind of again just like helps these Strip Mine decks be more prepared to be on the good side of a Strip Mine game. Notably, Deathrite Shaman is probably like one of the like just the best defensive cards right now against Strip Mine decks. If you like if you're on the play and you like play a Strip Mine, you play a Black Source and then you play Deathrite Shaman, they can't Strip Mine you and remove your Shaman without a Chrome Mox or like other fast mana, and so you're very insulated from just like being on the wrong side of a Strip Mine game. And then the Deathrite Shaman also has this added benefit of protecting against the Wary Zone Guard and Ren and 6 high rolls of like recurring Strip Mine. So in general, I think like Shaman is probably the best defensive piece you can have in your deck against Strip Mine decks. You can also run more lands. You can run less colors and Chrome Mox and other fast mana, but generally decks that play Chrome Mox or fast mana are already kind of decidedly running those. So that's not as important or as like flexible to your deck as these other cards and these other ideas. So also looking at mana in the Strip Mine meta. So I think prior to Strip Mine being released, there's kind of like this deck building mantra, or like, you know, there's a good deck building rule of running a basic R2 in your list to protect yourself against Blood Moon on the ladder and stuff like that. Because that was kind of like an edge case that could come up, and it was just kind of like, oh, I have it, I'm ready, I'm defended against it. But Strip Mine kind of encourages you to have redundancy in your sources. So, for instance, like if you have a Plains in a Sacred Foundry, it plays a lot worse in a Strip Mine than like 2 Sacred Foundries, right? Because it's just, you can't get taken off red that way. So redundancy in sources is a bit more encouraged. And just like, again, looking at the meta share, Strip Mine is just way more frequent than these other effects. Magus of the Moon is basically only ran in Stompy. There's like random land payoffs like Assassin's Trophy or Sundering Interruption that like, you know, you fetch a basic from your land and it's like not a big deal. And then there's like the non-basic hate like Blood Moon, Harbinger of the Seas, White Orchid Phantom. The meta share of Strip Mine is so big that I think you like if you want to just like increase win rate right now on ladder, it might actually be better to forego some of your basics to just add more redundancy to your mana base and make it less targetable by strip mine. The basics used to be like somewhat free because there was just like the hate effects were really non-targeted and they only hit non-basics. But with strip mine in the meta, there actually is a lot more of a push to playing less basics because they don't really protect you from anything. And like especially in a deck like Mardu Energy where life total doesn't even matter that much with like you just have a lot of random life gain. I think there is a good incentive to just not running basics. This is an exploitable strategy, right? Like people can adapt and start running. They're like, oh, I'm going to run Blood Moon now. I'm going to run Harbinger. That could happen, right? So it's basically something you want to like read the room on and like see what the meta share is on. But like right now, it really seems that you're getting a lot more punished for running a basic than you are not running a basic. So that's kind of where I am on that right now. And so here, I kind of want to just give a showcase of like some of these like anti-strip mine ideas into like a Mardu Energy build. This is kind of just this is not meant to be net decked or anything. I just want to showcase that like I'm now playing like I'm trying out like 2 Inspiring Vantage in the main because you want more redundancy in your sources and it's more likely to be turned on in the strip mine and that like or it's less likely to become untapped versus strip mine decks. And I'm also running Deathrite Shamans in the main, again, as insulation against strip mine. And again, this is not intended to be net decked. You're probably better off using Correa Riley's list and just trying like some of the Deathrites in the main, maybe an Inspiring Vantage or 2, just stuff like that. You could also, yeah, and so like, yeah, I just want to give a sample build. I don't think it's like a grade 75 or anything, but it's kind of like how you change existing decks to fight against strip mine in the meta. And so with that, that's like those are mainly my thoughts on strip mine and kind of how I think quote unquote like strip mine games have affected laddering right now. Like mainly like a deck with energy, you might have had like like you had it like a 70% matchup into like a lot of these like mid-rangey decks, but now it's like closer to like 55 or 60% because they just have these like strip mine high rolls like in play. And so I think it's kind of just like before we get on like the strip mine is terrible for the format bandwagon. I don't want to like have an opinion on that quite yet, but I think it is kind of like worth trying building decks in a way that have increased resiliency to strip mine. So here's kind of like again, it's kind of like an idea of a change to Mardu that I had that I think is like interesting to try. But yeah, thank you for your time. And yeah, have a good Labor Day.